All right, so we are doing a shiny badge quest of Pokemon Sword, and we will be hunting everyone on the screen here, but primarily we are hoping to get a Tyrogue, Gossifleur, or Growlithe, but I'll take just about anything. I think the lowest on the totem pole is probably that Zigzagoon, because we already have Skwovet. If you haven't seen it, I uploaded a short earlier this weekend on how I encountered that Skwovet, so if you want to take a look, it's a pretty funny video. Am colorblind, and I did not realize it was shiny when I first encountered it, so it's a good watch. But we're going to go ahead and get started. Alright, first, I kind of want to check where I'm at from our encounters. So we're not doing a complete full odds hunt. We will be getting a lot of full odds encounters, so there's a good chance that we'll get a full odds shiny at some point during this run, but we are using the Brilliant Aura method to try and speed things up a little bit, but it's still a bit of a grind, so we're going to be probably to get this route up to 500 encounters each, we're going to be sitting at half odds already, so I think there's a good chance we get at least one. But we are going to take a look at encounter counts. So we got 83 for Growlithe, so we're pretty close. Once we hit 100 encounters, we actually have a 3% chance of encountering a Brilliant Aura Pokemon, so we'll see a pretty significant increase in those shiny rolls that are quite a bit better. We have 20 Tyrogue encounters, so pretty far off there. 139 Gossifleur, so we're in the money on the 3% Brilliant Aura encounters, and I think odds sit at about 1,024 after 100 defeats. Yeah, I think that's right. So we'll have a pretty good, any Brilliant Aura Gossifleur will have a pretty solid, it's a quarter of normal odds. Only 11 Stunky. I was getting a little frustrated just because every time that Stunky has the ability Aftermath, so it just the Pokemon I'm grinding these battles with just have been fainting when I encounter it. So we'll probably try to get it to 100 and then see how. And then from there, we'll probably just farm Brilliant Aura encounters after that. Yeah, 268 encounters. It was grinding last night watching some Dragon Ball Z. I've never really been a big anime guy, but I just had the itch to rewatch Dragon Ball Z because I watched like a very small amount of it when I was a child, and I just remember a cool battle against Frieza and Piccolo or something, and it was pretty epic. So, um, just trying to finish off that show after many years. And I don't even know how many episodes in, but the Ginyu Force has arrived, and they've defeated a couple members of the Ginyu Force already. So basically, at that point, and then Frieza is confronting that old Piccolo character. I'm not good with the names. I haven't been paying too close on learning the lore and everything. Too close attention. This Pancham is going to be a beast by the end of all this. One good thing is that none of the pokes on this route have self-inflicting moves. So when we do get a shiny eventually, I don't think it'll be a very stressful battle. We'll just be trying to get it in a probably a Premier Ball. It depends on the shiny. I'll decide in real time. Honestly, I'm not opposed to the classic Pokeball for the catches, but sometimes it's nice to have something special. I do have a friend ball, so if we get the right shiny, let me look at what we have down here. Gossifleur might be a good friend ball poke, but everything else I think I would probably do Pokeball or maybe a Premier Ball. Yeah, you can see in the graphic down there, I do have the shiny Squovit. Evolved it to a Greedent last night, so I'm going to upload a clip today on that shiny Greedent evolving. I like the Greedent shiny a little bit more than Squovit, and also it's in the box right now just because I don't want to over level too much. It was already at level, it was coming up on 25, and I think the level cap for the next gym is 24. So we're probably going to surpass that, but that's okay because we're only going to be bringing 2 pokes to the actual battle. And we also have I kind of want to grind to the Growlithe wherever I see him for a little bit here just so I can get the number defeated up to 100. See that moderate increase in the Brilliant Ore spawns? Yeah, we're probably just going to be streaming for a little bit today, maybe an hour or two. Need to figure out what I want to do for dinner. My fiance is in the UK for the next week visiting a friend, and I'm making all the man food for dinner. We're getting wings tonight. I got steak for later this week, so I might do a steak and cheese, or maybe just cook that up on the cast iron. But my diet gets a lot simpler when it's just me at the apartment. I eat primarily meat, and my stomach usually hurts, and I need to take a bunch of Pepcid and Gas-X by the end of the week. So it's good to have a lady or a partner in your life to keep your standards and health a little bit better. Gotta get the fan going. It's a pretty hot day in the Boston area. Alright, and I believe our encounters are working. So we're good there. Gospelor's definitely been the dominant spawn on this route so far, so I have a feeling that it's going to end up being what we catch ultimately, but Tyrogue low-key would be the best encounter, but it's only 2% encounter rate, so it's going to be tough just to get it past the shiny increase threshold, so we'll see. But honestly, with Greedent on the last route, I was not prioritizing getting the battles against those, so, and that's what I ended up with, so we'll see what the shiny gods have in store for us for phase 2 here. I went on a run Friday, but usually I try to get a long run in on the weekends, and I said no this weekend. I'm just having a full veg out weekend, and it's been great. Just lots of gaming, hanging out. I edited my first clip on YouTube. I downloaded DaVinci Resolve, so I'm kind of learning how video editing works. I haven't done anything like that since high school. I took a video production class in high school. Shout out to Mr. Pingree. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I have a friend from high school that his brother's actually a professional. He directs movies, commercials, and stuff. But my friend, that's his older brother, my friend, and they used to make the funniest videos together. So there are some hilarious videos that we would make in that video production class. Be right back. Just gotta go get my seltzer. Seltzer on a hot summer day is fantastic. It's crazy that it's already August. Summer's flying by, but you just gotta appreciate it and live in the moment. I do have a work trip at the end of the month. I'm going to China, which will be, it's probably my fourth time going to China, maybe fifth, I can't remember. But that will take up 1 week. I'll lose 1 weekend and 1 week of the summer to that. But it'll be good. It should be an interesting trip. We're going to be nerding out on financial reporting. So I'm fortunate that I actually do enjoy, I work in corporate America, but I do enjoy a good amount of aspects of my job. Data modeling and stuff is actually pretty fun for me. So always a blessing if you can find a job that you actually halfway enjoy, because that is no guarantee by any means. I subscribe to the mentality that, like, there's only three important things with any job you have: what you do, the people you work with, and how much money you make. And you need to have two of those three to want to stay in a job. Ideally, you have all three. That would be great, but I feel like that's really hard to find. But yeah, because if you don't like your coworkers, you need to be making a lot of money. You need to enjoy the work you're doing. And just think, like, if you like your coworkers, like what you do, but you don't make as much money as you want, then, that might motivate you to work more, to find other avenues to make money. Maybe you pick up a second job, run Uber Eats or something. But yeah, I think it's just really, like, those are the three elements that define your experience at work. And in my case, I got a little bit of all three. There's definitely times where I hate my job, but I think that's everybody. Whenever it's busy, I work in FP&A, and basically, with the proximity you have to C-suite, when something is going wrong from any sort of financial perspective, like, anybody on C-suite can just send one email to your boss, and all of a sudden your life sucks for 2 to 3 weeks because you're scrambling to drive a work stream. All right, we got a Brilliant Aura encounter. Will it be the one? No. Yeah, I'd like to do the streaming kind of on a schedule. I feel like that's a little bit easier if we have people join us, but my work schedule is just a little chaotic, so I do have to work in the evening. Sometimes we have a lot of we have two offices over in China, so I get pulled into calls like early in the morning or late at night. So sometimes a night will just be blocked off because I have a call later. So might not be able to consistently do that, but I am transitioning into a new role where I should have a little less interaction with the China team. So that'll normalize my schedule a little bit, and I'll be able to plan around that. So I'm hoping to kind of hit a rhythm later into this year. Yeah, we'll see how long this takes. I was definitely well under odds for the first hunt, but we'll see how it goes for this second hunt and the ones to follow. I do want to get some feedback from the community on what they would like to see me hunt, because right now I'm just trying to build a half decent team with a little bit of, I won't say diversity, but yeah, some diversity on the team, but I definitely want to see what people would like to see me hunt and then target those specific ones. So if you join, please leave a comment on what you would like to see hunted in Gen 8. But this will probably be the most. I don't have an intimate knowledge of Gen 8, so this is going to be a good experience to really learn all the different routes and characters in the game, just like the mechanics. What items do you get at what levels for pickup items? Speaking of which, we need to check what the Linoons in my party have. Think I might have seen a Brilliant or a Zigzagoon up there, and they all have something. Would you look at that? Yeah, I did get the roll on a big nugget last night, so we got some cash in the bag that we're going to need to sell at some point. I think I'm actually out of money right now. Brilliant or a Zigzagoon? No shiny. That would have been crazy. So you'll see that I'm not really pushing to encounter Zigzagoon, and that's just because I don't want another normal type on the team. Normal's probably the most flexible type, but I'll take literally anything else. And the problem is too is that Greedent has access to dark moves, so it's not like a type that we just can't leverage at all yet. So really not too many perks to getting the Greedent from a typing perspective. It'll be kind of fun too, because we're obviously going to be collecting a lot of items, a lot of berries. I think we'll be able to EV train this team for the most part, because we're also going to be getting so much money by farming the pickup items. So by the end of this, I'm sure we'll have the resources to EV train everything. And as we're doing these hunts, we're also just going to be able to target wild mons that will push up certain EVs, so we can kind of take that approach as well. I'm sure there's a little bit of a plateau on how much experience you get later in the game as you get higher levels. There are definitely areas where the wild Pokemon are high level and you can probably level up decently quickly, but I'm not going to cater my hunt to getting the best experience patch. I'm just going to target the specific poke, so depending on what we hunt, we'll see. I don't have a shiny Dragapult, but I think that's a wild encounter, so I don't know if I'll do that hunt, but that would probably be the 7th or the 8th hunt if I was going to do it. Going into the final gym, I can't remember that guy's name, but the dragon guy with doubles, it would be pretty sweet to have the Dragapult line. I don't know if the level cap would bring us to have a fully evolved Dragapult, but we might have the second stage to work with that battle. A lot of Trevich encounters. Thought you could get away from me. No, sir. No, ma'am. Apologies. Let's complete the payback PP. Oh, one shot. Nice job. Another Trevich. This is an unreal run. Alright, we'll pick up some Zigzagoon encounters here. Just get him off the encounter map. Maybe we'll get a better reroll. $300 encounters, baby. Working our way up. One thing I'll have to be cognizant of is maybe I should try to farm some Everstones at some point because I don't want to evolve these Linoon. They lose the pickup ability, so I got to be careful about that. And I have some other Zigzagoon with Gluttony as the ability, so that would ideally be the one that we evolve into a Obstacoon. Yeah, we got battle animations off just so we can speed up these encounters a bit because it's going to be a long haul. And I remember when I started this hunt, I forgot to, and I was looking at the encounters. I was like, I feel like this is taking a lot longer than it was on the last route. And then I was like, oh yeah, I'm so bad about doing like maintenance in between battles. I think of something in the battle, 15 seconds later, I'm in the overworld. Like I feel like I had something to do. I'll just be completely out of my brain. Trubbish. It's kind of the Squobit of this route. It's a rare encounter, and it's a really good shiny. I actually like Trubbish a little bit better than Garbodor, but it's very distinct, and I've never used one, so if that ends up being the... I've never used a Gossifleur either, so that would be pretty ideal. But yeah, Trubbish, not super hyped on it, but I think it's more of a special attacker. Let me look that up. Such a good shiny. But let's look at Garbodor's stats. I've never thought about Actually, I really like the shiny for Garbodor. Okay, so yeah, no, it's a physical attacker, so we'd have two physical attackers on the team, but Garbodor looks a little more well-rounded, so that ends up being the add to the team, and I think it'll help me on the next two gyms. So, not the worst thing. And it's got some good abilities too. So yeah, we're into Trubbish now. We're gonna treat that. We kind of have a big four here. Pretty much all four pokes that are in the middle of the picture on screen. Ooh, we might get an Evo here. There it is. This is a cute little line. I have a shiny Diggersby somewhere. I think I got it in Dynamax Adventures. The fur on its belly retains heat exceptionally well. People use it to make heavy winter clothing from fur shed by its Pokemon. get one more battle. I'll head out. I'm going through the process of just evolving every poke in the box, just so I can have a work towards the living dex and maybe get the shiny charm for some post-game hunts. It'd be kind of fun to hunt one of the legendaries with the shiny charm, but I don't have the DLC purchase, so we'll see how long this run takes and when, if I stick with it, which I will, I'm determined, but we'll probably consider hunting something from the DLC and buying it. So I'm gonna come back here. Be right here. Alright, I do need to catch another Bunnelby, but this section's pretty much done. If we see a wild Mudbray, we should probably try to catch it just so we can have the extra dex entry. Or just have the living dex more complete. Shiny Growth would be so cool. It does not help me with the next gym, but I think with a Greedent we could probably get through that battle. We just have to figure out. Hopefully it knows Intimidate. I'll just have to see what Nessa's team is. Figure out what the strategy would be there. I used items in the first gym. Squelbit was not totally prepared for the. Alright, what's battle throw? 70, never misses. Only has 10 PP though, it's not quite as good. Honestly, I'm gonna drop Payback because we really aren't getting much good use out of Payback. And Vital Throw will one-shot, so that's the move. Item check. Nice little Hyper Potion. Could come up clutch in a battle. Ooh, we got a Brilliant Aura. No shiny. Yeah, and just the aura of the team by having an Arcane on it, like, it's just too cool. Held on to False Swipe there just because that's going to be important for actually catching folks. We'll probably get a couple random wild encounters, and there's a different encounter table from the hidden Pokemon in the grass, so probably have some dex completion tasks in there to do. It's a pretty nice day outside, so there's a moderate amount of guilt sitting inside doing this, but part of the dog days of summer for me is just having veg out days too. While like you want to do outside, go on runs, walks, and just experience the outdoors while you can. I have just as many core memories of like kind of lazing around. I have this distinct memory of like, I was probably in the third or fourth grade, and I remember it was summertime, and I was playing Pokemon Ruby on my Game Boy Advance lying on the front yard. So that's the best of both worlds, but I don't have any grass in my apartment, so not an option. Rolling around in the grass with my Switch too. As a 32-year-old man. Sounds kind of lovely, doesn't it? Alright. Drink is dripping all over the place. Napkin support. I got Five Guys on Friday. Five Guys is incredible. You can't eat it all the time, but like once every couple months, I have a craving for Five Guys specifically, and no other burger will satisfy that itch. Five Guys just, the burgers are great, but they can just put a pit in your stomach. Honestly, it's mainly the French fries. Actually, I still have the leftover French fries because they provide a psychotic amount of French fries with every order. I like that they're generous, but it is really expensive. I think I did Uber Eats and what was it, DoorDash, and it was like 30 bucks. And I have like through my credit card, I have the Mumbo Jumbo DoorDash package, and it still ends up being too much money. But Five Guys is oh so good. I find that I haven't had fast food barely at all over the last several years. I lean towards fast casual if I'm gonna be getting some sort of like if I'm craving a fast food meal. But living in the city, I live in the Boston area, there's just always a local spot that's better. I don't need to go to Jersey Mike's because we have a better deli right down the street. So I find that when you have a local option, you should always just go for that. And it's usually a lot better. Not every time. Some like there are definitely burgers that aren't that great out there, but I think also with burger cravings, I go to the pub a lot of the time. That's how I judge whether I like the pub or not. I go there, sit down, order the burger and their wings, and that is my barometer for whether you're in my uh, potential options when I'm craving a burger. I used to live in Somerville, and there was this local pub down the street from me called PJ Ryan's, and that is to this day is my favorite pub burger. It's not too big. I think sometimes pubs will make these like give you a half-pound burger, and it's almost like too much for me, and it inevitably gets messy. So I'm more keen on third pound in my burgers, just so it's a little bit more manageable to actually eat. I hate when I have to go in with a fork and knife to finish it off because the bun is all soggy on the bottom and there's just grease everywhere. So there's definitely a science to making burgers. I find that so I've only done smash burgers. I can't have a propane grill in my apartment, but I have so I've been making smash burgers on my cast iron. I have this massive spatula that is like perfect for smashing it. And it was kind of funny because there's the massive size, but the medium size looked kind of perfect. Not too big, but big enough to make your smash burgers. And it was sold out, so I had to go for the gigantic one. We're not going for a small one here. And honestly, I'm glad I got the gigantic one because it when you do a quarter pound burger, it spreads out a lot when you smash it thin. So having the big surface area to really crush it down and kind of like get sometimes if it's too small, it'll smush down in the middle, but not on the sides, and then you'll have this like weird little like half pipe of your burger, and you don't want that. So I basically just take the giant spatula, smush it down, get it as flat as possible, and then hold it there, and it kind of steams underneath because all of the grease and stuff, and it creates a nice char. So you go really high heat on the cast iron, It is very messy, very smelly to do in your apartment or your kitchen, but it is delicious. Then you just do one flip, cheese on, and it's a nice crispy burger. I honestly, my fiance gets back from the UK Friday, and I think I might just cook some burgers. Welcome back to America, babe. We're eating an American burger. I also have I made some, so I have this like, it's kind of a hybrid between barbacoa and birria. I've made both birria and barbacoa, so now I just kind of blend the recipes because what I really like with birria, what you do is you get dried chili peppers, so there's guajijo, um, chipotle peppers, but basically you just go to your international foods aisle, take a look at the dried peppers where the Mexican food is, and there's a bunch of options. Also, there's this stuff called ají amarillo, and it's a Peruvian pepper sauce. So it kind of comes as a concentrate in a jar. So basically, it's like just they probably not dehydrated it, but like blended it up, pureed it, and just anytime you're making Mexican, if you're doing tacos, fajitas, I just take a glob of that. You can go a little light if you're not into spicy food, but it adds such a good flavor and texture to it. But I find that using either like making your own puree, because what you do with birria is you take a bunch of those dried peppers, you throw them into a blender or a food processor, and then you heat up some either water or beef broth, and you get it to a boil, then you pour it in and let the chilies soak in that, so they get really soft and it softens them. And then what you do is you throw in like tomatoes and onion, garlic, and you puree that together after about 20 minutes after the peppers have softened. And then you have this like wonderful thing. So then you get a bunch of beef and chuck beef or short rib, and you just sear those and then throw in all the that puree after it's seared, and it is so delicious. All right, so we might have something we can catch here. Yeah, let's get a Scented Scorch or Sizzlipede. To be a Scented Scorch. All right, we will fall swipe. Sizzlepede's a cool little guy. That'd be a cool shiny, but it's pretty rare, so I think I'll just take that out. I already have a shiny Scorch, and I'd probably rather leave with the Growlithe if I'm getting a fire type overall, but it wraps prey up with its heated body, cooking them until it coils. Once they're well done, it will voraciously nibble them down to the last morsel. It's pretty dark. Goes hard. We're gonna call you Riz. This might be I'm definitely gonna try to evolve this. Oh yeah, I think it is an attacker. Alright, this is pretty sweet. Okay. Alright. Send you to the box, but we're gonna evolve you. Potentially today. We're probably gonna be ripping this several hours today. Whenever my fiance's gone for the weekend, I just go full degenerate and get my gaming out of my system, so that's what inspired me to do the stream. We getting an Evo? Potentially. I think Nectric actually has some pretty good. It's definitely a special attacker, but I wouldn't be surprised if it had decent attack. Where you can leverage Howl a little bit, because quick attack's always useful too. Just getting that automatic priority. My Nectric's going to be outspeeding most things, but with a para, you might fall behind, so having quick attack is always a good thing to have in your back pocket. I love priority. Ooh, we got one. Brilliant auras are rolling in today. We have about 3 already, which I feel like we've been mostly deprived. However, that is how we got our shiny Squovit, so while it didn't seem we were getting the rolls for them, we got the roll within it, so that's the important thing. Crushing seltzer all weekend. I'm definitely a little addicted to seltzer. It kind of has replaced soda for me, so I used to drink Diet Coke all the time growing up, but once I went to college, I stopped drinking as much soda, and honestly, a good thing to cut out because it is very unhealthy for you. There's so many good foods and drinks to be unhealthy for. Like, yeah, I want all the burritos and subs and pizza. I know it's bad for me. It's literally the only reason I work out is so I can tolerate eating my favorite foods. But yeah, soda just never, when I go through the mental equation of what is worth eating or drinking that's unhealthy for me, soda is just not the priority. So seltzer's been a good backfill. So when I'm craving something and like feels like it's a healthy choice to help balance out some of my other eating habits. Haven't seen a Tyro today. That's 2%, so that honestly double it, 1 in 50 over 1 in 100, I feel like makes a big difference. It's a literal 100% increase in odds. But I'm excited that Tyro is at least a tiny bit in play as the shiny here, just because a full 1 in 100, I just think it would probably have no shot. With 2%, you actually string together those. There's definitely some hidden number, hidden mechanic of when you battle a poke, if you battle them more than once in a row, you can start chaining them together. Because I got 6 Tyrogue in a row last night, which just seems like 0.02 to the 6th power seems like a ridiculous odd. Thought I just heard my cat, but might give her some catnip. That's what happens when you're home alone with dad. You get the fun stuff. I wish it showed items in the experience gain screen, because then I could more easily do the check for the Linoon items. We're gonna have so many Pokédolls, we're gonna have to sell most, honestly, all but one. I like having like one of every item. It's kind of a fun little challenge to chase, and just like maxing out as many items as you can. I have a compulsion anytime I play a game with berries where you can plant them and farm them. I just am always going. I like having a daily task in the game, but there's like if you do Gen 4 and Gen 3 berry farming is honestly a pretty big lap by the end of the game, even when you fly around and have the most efficient routes to each berry tree. It takes a while. So I feel like I just wasted so much time doing little maintenance tasks. 333. Well, that's 334 actually. over 1/3 to 1,000. Progress, baby. Tyrogue would be so cool, and we're definitely going for Hitmonchan. I just love the blue gloves, and Hitmonchan was the first one I chose. Can I delete? No, we're just gonna. If I end up using the Mudbray at any point, I wanted to have all attacking moves. Because we will be here for a while doing exactly this. I think what I like about this mechanic is it pushes me to battle each of the wild encounters. And it feels more like I'm actually playing the game rather than just like encountering and running each time. I'm building up EVs on all these guys and then working towards those thresholds, and just definitely I did a Masuda hunt in Soul Silver recently for Ladian. You can watch me evolve Lady into Ladybot into Ladian on a short on the channel, but I found that was like it was a pretty slog of a hunt, and I got pretty bored. I was almost ready to give up, and then I got the shiny roll because I was at barely at 1/3 odds, and it just felt like it was taking forever. I was over 80 hours into the game at that point. I still haven't beaten the 8th gym. I gotta go do that. Probably will finish the day trying to get to the 8th gym in Soul Silver. Once we're almost out of PP, we might do a Stunky encounter or two just to, because we can start taking some damage at the end. Aftermath makes Stunky an annoying target on this route because basically Aftermath just like takes away a quarter of your health, so you just have to heal a lot more than you'd like. And it's a cool shiny, but not my favorite, so ideally we'll get something else. Trebuch we're a lot more into. I just looked at Garbodor's shiny one more time, and I think it's pretty sweet, and I've never used one of these. I feel like it would just be a tank. So much condensation. So it's getting out of hand. Alright, I think that's going to be it for the day. We're going to do one more review of the decks, and then we'll hop off. I might do some hunting off stream today, but we'll record it so we can show in the video at some point if we do get that shiny. Let's just do a full run. Alright. 4, 1. 15 against Blipbug. 8 against Caterpie. 1 Grubbin. 506 against Rookidee, so we're ready for a hunt on that if we want to go back, but 214 on Squelvet before we got the shiny roll. Make it 231. Pretty good there, honestly, for a lower encounter poke. 250 on Wooloo. Ooh, we're over 100 for Growlithe. Let's go. $180. Coming up on 200. That's a pretty big odds jump for Cosplay. Hopefully we'll get her to 300 today. That's so beautiful. Sylveon, wow. Alright, get a quick save in. Alright, I'll see you later.